We have multiple major updates for the New York Islanders, including updates on the injury status and future of one of their top defensemen. We're going to be talking about that and how all these updates can impact the roster moving forward on this episode of Islanders Digest. But before we get into all that, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button. If you're an Islanders fan and you want more Islanders content, this is the channel for you. Right now, we're trying to hit our first goal of reaching 100 subscribers, so be sure to be a part of that and subscribe to the channel right now. Now, let's get right into the updates. Stefan Rosner has tweeted that today, Ryan Pulock is still practicing, and he's a will see for the Saturday game against Dallas. Now, this is definitely good news. Even if Ryan Pulock cannot play in the game versus Dallas, it really isn't a big deal because this shows that he's getting closer to returning, and the Islanders are definitely going to need him healthy moving forward. Now, the big player I really want to talk about in this episode is Noah Dobson. Now, Rosner does say that they have no update on Noah Dobson. Typically, the Islanders do this. Lou Lamoriello does not like to give an update on a player until they are just on the cusp of returning for some reason. That being said, the fact that Noah Dobson is skating, especially considering that his lower body injury was likely due to the knee or something around his leg based on the way he fell, the fact that he's skating is very encouraging. I have a feeling that he will be back soon, and that is definitely going to make some interesting Islanders roster decisions moving forward. The Islanders have acquired a lot of defensemen to replace Ryan Pulock, Scott Mayfield, Noah Dobson. Now that they're back, things are going to get really interesting really fast. In other news, before we talk about that, I also want to mention from practice, Marcus Hoberg is practicing with the goalie coach. Don't quite know when he's going to be returning, but it's nice to see that he is on the ice. If the Islanders are going to make the playoffs this season, Ilya Sorokin cannot play the remaining 30 games or so in the season. He's going to get too worn out. Even if they do make the playoffs by riding Sorokin that much, if he plays that many games by the time they get to the playoffs, he will be too burnt out to really give them a shot at winning. Also, Hoberg has been so effective for the team. It'll be really good to see him get back, especially if Varlamov cannot return, because as of this point in time, we have also received no update on Varlamov, and he has also not been on the ice, which is very concerning for the health of Varlamov. Now, in other news, in terms of the practice, Brock Nelson was obviously not at Islanders practice. He was at practice for Team USA for the Four Nations face-off. He will likely be playing in the final versus Canada, and I am super excited for that game. This is an Islanders channel, but how could you not like USA versus Canada? Best on best hockey. It's even better to see Brock Nelson representing Team USA. In the previous game, he even got to wear an A. It was super exciting to see, and as an Islander fan, I was super proud to see Brock Nelson representing his country, our country. Let's go USA. Next, I want to talk about Yzerman's Hockey has just tweeted officially that Noah Dobson is switching his agent. He's officially switching to the Yzerman Hockey Association in terms of his agent representation. This is definitely an interesting update for the Islanders, especially considering Noah Dobson is up for a contract soon, and recently there have been a lot of talks about the Islanders trading Noah Dobson. So him changing agents could be a sign of things to come. It could also be nothing. It's not uncommon for a player like Noah Dobson to start out with a smaller agent and then move on to a bigger agent once you're ready to hit that big contract. These bigger agents, they like to represent the best of the best, and Noah Dobson is definitely one of the most intriguing defensemen in the National Hockey League. A lot of Islander fans are very frustrated with him this season. He has not had the same season after having a 70-point season the year before. That being said, that does not seem to bother fans of a lot of other teams who want to acquire him. So it's definitely interesting to keep an eye out as Noah Dobson changed his agents, as this could be a sign of more to come for this player. Now, let's get into talking about Noah Dobson that drop and what kind of contracts he could be looking to get. This is a very interesting concept for Islanders fans. How much can Noah Dobson be expected to make? And this is really tough contract to project. It's really hard to project a contract for Noah Dobson because last year's season, he had that 70-point season. It was an incredible year. Not only did he play great offensively, but that season, Ryan Pulock and Adam Pelech were missing for the majority of the season, and Noah Dobson stepped up and played a huge amount of minutes incredibly well for this New York Islanders team. He was incredibly effective. So after last season, you were really feeling as an Islander fan as Noah Dobson was probably going to receive a $10 million contract and be one of the NHL's top defensemen. He was going to be the Islanders' #1 defenseman. This year, it has not looked like that is the case. In 46 games, he does have 6 goals, 18 assists, 24 points. He's about on pace to have another 45-ish point season, which for a defenseman is very good. But it's not what the Islanders expected from Noah Dobson, and it makes this contract really difficult because it makes you concerned that he can have another step back, and if that's the case, signing him long term for a lot of money can be dangerous. Now, that original talk that we were talking about last year with $10 million, I think that is pretty much out the window. No one's going to give Dobson that much of a contract, especially when he has not proved it in his contract year. But as we're going to talk about, according to some projections, Noah Dobson can be looking at around $8 million. If you look at some of his comparable players, thanks to Scotia Stat, this is a pretty good indication of what type of player Noah Dobson is. And the comparables are really staggering. On one hand, you have Maurice Seider. On the other hand, you have Jacob Trouba. And there is a wide difference between those two players. A Jacob Trouba type situation for the Islanders would be disastrous. Now, Noah Dobson really isn't a Jacob Trouba type player. I think first of all, he's definitely a better defensive defenseman, although he does have his quirks. Not as physical, but honestly, when it comes to a defenseman, that can sometimes be better for a top defenseman, just because those physical, tough-hitting defensemen don't always age the best. As we've seen with Trouba, his contract did not age well for the New York Rangers at all. That being said, this is a lot of money that the Islanders are going to have to commit to Noah Dobson. He is only 25, so there's not really concern about him regressing during the contract. It's more about the inconsistency in his stats over the last few seasons. That's definitely making the Islanders a bit concerned about locking this player up long term, and it's definitely why the Islanders are shopping him to see what they can get in the market for Noah Dobson. Now, I don't think the Islanders are just going to trade Noah Dobson to trade Noah Dobson. They definitely see the value in this player. He basically carried them for the majority of the season last year. The Islanders know that. They also know he's had some growing pains in the Patrick Waugh system. I don't think they're eager to get away from this player, but if an option's out there, especially for a scorer, I can definitely see them trading a Noah Dobson for, say, Jordan Kyrou or something like that. Now, with these defensemen coming back to the Islanders, what's more important to talk about right now, as of right now, nobody is traded. So we have to talk about what the Islanders are going to do with all the defensemen they have on the roster. As we take a look right now, the Islanders have their current roster. They're currently missing 3 defensemen. They have filling in, they have Scott Perunovich, Dennis Cholonsky, and Adam Boqvist. And to their credit, Scott Perunovich and Dennis Cholonsky have done an incredible job stepping up and playing key minutes. Especially Perunovich, I feel like he has really deserved his time up on the Islanders. But now it's going to be really interesting to see what happens next. I would probably predict that Dennis Cholonsky is probably going to be on his way back to the AHL unless he is claimed on waivers, as Scott Mayfield is definitely going to take that spot on the third pair. And Scott Mayfield is already back. As we can see from the updates, yesterday Scott Mayfield, he is feeling good to go. Wasn't even on the injury updates because I think the Islanders are making it pretty clear Scott Mayfield is ready to play again after the Four Nations face-off. Ryan Pulock, Noah Dobson, it looks like they can still need a few more days, but it looks like Ryan Pulock is going to be back soon, leaving really only one spot for these defensemen on the roster. And once Noah Dobson's back, all 3 of these defensemen who've been playing good minutes to replace these players are no longer going to have a spot in the lineup. And it'll be really interesting to see what Lou Lamoriello does, especially once Pulock and Dobson are back. They're not going to have enough roster spots to hold on to both Perunovich and Adam Boqvist. So they're going to have to make a decision on which player they keep, whether they have to drop one on waivers or they're either going to have to drop one of these players on waivers or find some sort of trade. If I have to guess, of the 2 players, the Islanders will probably hold on to Perunovich. He has been just that much better than Boqvist. But let me know what you think should happen in the comments. Do you think the Islanders should extend Noah Dobson? If so, how much money do you think they should get? How much money do you think Noah Dobson should get? And if you think the Islanders should trade Noah Dobson or one of these other defensemen, who do you think should be left out of the lineup? Let me know your thoughts below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Let's go Islanders.